Hey everybody, Nick from the Bass Hookup here, and today we got a special one for you guys. If you've been sitting at home thinking that this weather's perfect and it's warm and these bass should be biting, well, we're coming out to the Delta to give you that report right now. If you're thinking, how's it fishing? What's the water look like? Well, I can tell you right now, the water here, we launched at Quartz Pirates Lair, and the water's pretty muddy. I'd say it's about 1 to 2 foot visibility, maybe 1 foot. You could kind of see what the water looks like right here. Pretty muddy. So we're gonna run Central Delta, probably around Mildred area, and see if we can find a little bit cleaner water. But the plan today is, I mean, today it's been perfect weather. It's been warm. It's been 70 degrees. We have like this perfect hazy cloud cover right here. It's supposed to be calm. We got high tide right now. I think it's high outgoing or about to be outgoing. And so everything's lined up, other than the fact that it's January. So as fishermen, we always get excited when we feel warm weather. We feel like the bass should be biting because it's nice and warm. I could put on shorts, t-shirt, but that's not always the case. But we're gonna go out here and find out if we could catch a few. A successful day would just be able to catch like 5 fish. We catch 5 fish, I don't care what size they are, it'd be a really good day. Probably gonna lock the spinnerbait in my hand and go down the bank, maybe chatterbait a little bit, but mostly spinnerbait, and see if we catch these fish. Also, remember, we give away half our YouTube income every single month. All you have to do is subscribe and leave a comment, and we'll be giving that away here shortly or at the beginning of every month. I'm not sure if I'll have this video posted by February 1st, probably after. So for this video right here, it's gonna be March 1st, the giveaway. All right, enough talking. We need to run to the first spot and get to fishing.
On my face, so they would fucking
All right, guys, so during this video, I just want to give you a little bit more context of like what I'm looking for out there this time of year and the conditions during this time, this trip right here. So let's start off with the conditions. I mean, conditions like I showed you kind of in the morning. We launched out of Quartz Pirates Lair, so close to B&W on the McCollum. Water clarity was probably 6 inches to a foot. Pretty muddy, and usually that's what you're going to get with the tributaries that are feeding the San Joaquin and Rio Vista, Sacramento. Those tributaries that are fed by little creeks and things like that, when it rains, they get pretty muddy because all that water from the farmlands, all the water from the cities and everything like that flow down into there, and it'll get that water pretty muddy. So to get away from that, we ran up in the Middle River, kind of in the mid-delta area, away from all those tributaries that are feeding the delta, and the water got really clean. So I don't know, honestly, if I like that. Number one, it was very clean. I like a little stain to the water, so maybe somewhere in between there. We didn't have very long. We were only fishing for about 3.5, 4 hours, so we kind of went to one area and stayed there. But if I went out again, I'd probably try to find, I'd like 2 to 3 foot visibility, maybe at most. That 4, 5, 6 foot visibility stuff for me is too clean for the way I want to fish, because when I'm out here fishing the Delta this time of year, from now all the way through April, and really when they start spawning and they're on beds, up until the point they're on beds, which is usually around mid to late April, I like to fish reaction, and that's what I like to do, especially pre-spawn. I will rarely pick up Senko, anything, flip in, drop shot, things like that. It's my personal preference. I'm not telling you all to do this. I'm just saying that I like to cover water. I like to put a spinnerbait in my hand, at times, sometimes a square bill, but most of the time a spinnerbait, and I'll throw that spinnerbait all the way up until they start getting on beds, or if I'm up in the shallows and I see bluegills. Once I start seeing bluegills, then the vibrating jig comes into play, and I'd be throwing the first gen copperhead. That's why there's different boat draws every day. So it gives the other guys the opportunity, if they wanted to, dude, fish on, dude. Oh, dude, big one, dude. Oh, come on, baby. Oh, look, it's fish on. No. It's a giant, dude. Look at that. Just look at its head, folks. Don't look at its body. Don't pay any attention to that right there, because I don't know what's wrong with this fish, but on the first gen split blade, chartreuse, gold blade, chartreuse and white. Man, up there too. Up there in about
Nothing.
2 foot of water, but I will say the water visibility right here is good. Like I could see 3-4 feet down. So, oh man, it just feels good to catch a January bass.
Dude, look at that.
I mean, his head's big, but man, I don't even want to let it go because it might be the last one I see all day, but thought it was a weed. I'm gonna be And I also do want to let you guys know that firstgenfishing.com, it's open, the website's up. You guys can go out there, check out all these new baits. They're all in stock. Copperheads, split blades, double buzz, and all our other stuff is out there. And also, if you use code BassHookup10, you get 10% off your order. So BassHookup10 at checkout, get 10% off. You guys will definitely want to check it out, especially if you want to get some of the new copperheads. Use BassHookup10, get your 10% off. Shipping over $75 is free. So go over there, check it out. But this time of year, like you can see in the video, I'm throwing a spinnerbait. My buddy Gary's throwing a jerkbait. He's throwing it out on the weed flats. But me, I like throwing a spinnerbait. I like throwing it with no trailer. I just don't like throwing a trailer out on the Delta for one reason. Is because if I throw a trailer on there, I feel like I'm going to get not a lot, but some short strikes. And to compensate for the short strikes, I'd have to throw a trailer hook, and then I'm going to get snagged more. But I want to be able to throw the spinnerbait for one reason, and that's to throw it literally through the sparse tule clumps. Because a lot of bites are triggered by that spinnerbait bumping off of a tule or through those sparse tules. If you're trying to throw around like the edges of them and things like that, then you know, you may get one to come out and eat it, but a lot of times those big fish get triggered by that spinnerbait bumping off of a tule, and if I have a trailer hook, I'm a lot more likely to get snagged on that, and then that's not a clean cast where maybe there could have been a 10-pounder sitting right there. So I'm throwing that spinnerbait, the split blade, and not the compact. I like the full size for the Delta, because the full size, I could really, really slow roll it and get a lot of thump out of that bigger blade. And that's what I want. I want that thump. One tip is throw that thing in there on your target. If you're throwing it on a hard tule bank or up against a hard tule island or a rock, throw it up there, kind of, you know, get some tension on the line, get that blade spinning so you feel it thumping, and let it just kind of pendulum down. A lot of times guys throw their bait up to structure like a spinnerbait, and you throw it up there, and the tendency is to start reeling it right away. Well, you just threw it up there, and before your bait sinks a foot, you've already pulled it 2-3 feet away from that structure. So you want to get it up in that spot on the bank, just get that blade to where it's working, and you could feel it thumping on the way down, and let that thing just kind of fall straight down right next to that piece of structure where you think, obviously you're casting there because you think that's probably the best looking spot. So you want it to be falling straight down right on that spot. And if there's a fish there, a lot of times the big fish eat it on the fall in the Delta. A lot of times. The compact is also a great spinnerbait, but because of the size of the blades, they're a lot smaller. Therefore, deeper water, for bluff banks, just a lot more steep tapering banks. Works excellent there. So in the Delta, I'm going with the full-size split blade spinnerbait. And then the couple colors, I like throwing a lot of whites. I throw white and chartreuse like in the video, but white and chartreuse. Coleslaw is a great color in the Delta. It's a big thing back east this time of year, but in the Delta, not a ton of guys throw it, and it works excellent. And then another big color that we basically made for the Delta is the red spinnerbait. The red spinnerbait, if you guys know, if you're been fishing the Delta for years, red spinnerbaits can be killer. All right, so as you can see in the video right here, I'm going down this bank, and this bank looks perfect. You have hard tule island, you have sparse tule clumps out away, and this is what I'm looking for right now this time of year. So on a couple things, I want, whether it be a rock bank or tule island, I want there to be some depth. I want it to be at least 4 or 5 feet deep on high tide, and once it gets shallower than that, I'm going to go to the other side of the island. So most islands in the Delta have a shallow side and have a deep side. On high tide, those fish are going to be on the points, and they're going to be on that shallow side, maybe up there feeding. When low tide occurs, those fish are just going to swim right around to the other side of the island, and if they want to feed, they're going to be up on that deeper side of the island, real close to deep water. But they always want to be close to deep water this time of year. Near spawning areas, they don't go very far. I don't think they travel super far throughout the delta. So they're in the same areas you may have caught them last spring or this fall or this winter. They're in those areas, but that's kind of how they move from high to low tide. High tide, they could be right on the bank and on the shallower side of the islands. On low tide, they're going to be in that deeper water. They'll swing around the other side of the island and just sit in that up shallow when they want to feed. And then when they don't want to feed, they just pull right back out into deep water and kind of hang out on those shelves and behind something just to conserve energy and get out of the current. So use those tips this month and next month to catch more fish. Look for those areas on those tides. Also, really good looking water is going to be Tule Islands with a little bit of vegetation, floating vegetation, because I could catch spinnerbait fish even when it's sunny, just like in this video. If there's floating vegetation, something for those fish to get under, I can throw that spinnerbait, slow roll it right by that, get them to come out, react to it, and eat it. But I really, really love throwing the spinnerbait when it's cloudy or storming. When it's cloudy or storming, raining, windy, I will go out there, and those are the days I'm looking for, especially when we get into March and April. April, you get a stormy day, you head out there with a spinnerbait, you hit those spawning areas, and man, that could be the best day of the year, like 100%. I'm gonna leave it at that. You guys watch this last fish catch right here, and then that's gonna be it for the video. Just a quick trip out to the Delta to check it out. It's not quite time. The water temps are still 53, 54 degrees, 55, maybe in some areas. When that water hits 57, 58, the bite's on, you could go out there and you could pretty much catch fish however you'd like to catch them. I mean, I'm not saying you're gonna catch 100 of them or 20 of them, but you can catch fish. When it hits 57, 58, the fish are definitely looking to feed. So get out there, get out to the Delta, try some of these spinnerbait tips and tricks, and thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Oh, dude, real. Dude,
it felt like a weed, dude.
Yeah, well, it's wintertime. We got a number 2, a good one too. If Gary can land it, let's see here. Don't horse it in, got them stock hooks on. Oh, nice fat one.
That net ready.
Oh, it's ready. Dude, you still got 20 feet of line out. You just reeled. Oh, dude, nice one. There you go.
This is the same color, dude.
Nice one right there. Look at that.
Catch a fish, dude.
On the jerk bait.
There we go, baby. Dude,
Hey,
like a weed.
It's a good day in the Delta already. We got 2.
Yeah, this will work, dude.
We got 2 good ones. Not dinks.
He ate it.
This one, somehow the weed turned into a fish. You know how it goes.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Pull that one, dude. That one's fat right there.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Nice one.
That'll work.
All right.
Okay,
Just got to keep fishing around. They're around. Yeah, the watercolor over here, for all you guys wondering, I mean, you could kind of see it, but I could see my spinnerbait down at least 3 feet. So it's pretty clean. And it's just a big weed flat. I think it goes from here to the island over here. And Gary caught his out in the middle out here. So these fish kind of just roaming around out here on this weed flat. You just got to run into them. Just keep on fishing. More cash you can make, the better.